Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we obviously have some very important news to be discussing on Bitcoin because as you guys probably saw, yesterday, Bitcoin took a massive nosedive, pulling far below $10,500, ultimately pulling all the way back to $10,000 flat and bouncing as of this morning. This means that Bitcoin has cracked the all-important level of support of 10.5 and has pulled back below it. It means that Bitcoin is actually getting close to the CME futures gap that everybody has been talking about for the last month or so, and it's in correlation with a pullback in the traditional finance markets, the stock markets, and yes, even the gold markets. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the majority of the major markets in America, anyway, are in correction. So in today's video, we're going to be breaking down this pullback on Bitcoin, seeing what it has to do with gold, seeing what it has to do with stocks, seeing what it has to do with that CME futures gap, and perhaps seeing where Bitcoin will be heading in the near-term future. Because guys, technical analysis is always important, and there are some very important technicals that you need to see right now, as well as some fundamentals being drawn from other markets. Anyway, guys, make sure to stick around until the end of the video because we have some fantastic analysis coming up. If you do enjoy today's video, consider hitting the like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, guys. It's come to my attention that a large minority of you guys are not subscribed to this channel, and that just won't do. We are trying to get to 75k subs by the end of the year, and then we can celebrate, and it will be awesome, but we need your help. Jonathan, sitting there watching the video and not subscribed, I see you. I see you. Don't think I don't see you. I see what you're doing. I see that you don't want us to get to 75k, and that's just not okay. That rhymed. Anyway, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. So, I'm going to say it again because, you know, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so because I said for like 2 weeks there that Bitcoin was probably going to pull back to 10.5. Now, like I said in yesterday's video, I disqualified myself because I said it looked like we were in a consolidation pattern, so I didn't really tell you so. But for everybody who was so hell-bent on the idea that Bitcoin was only going to go straight to the moon, I warned you. At the moment, Bitcoin is trading at $10,400 and is treating $10,500 as a level of resistance instead of support. As you guys can see, Bitcoin went ahead and followed through on this head and shoulders pattern we discussed and fell out of whichever pattern you want to draw, whether you think it's a rising trading channel or a consolidation pattern the way we drew it. Either way, Bitcoin is now broken bearish out of it, and it has fallen below 10.5. From recent peak to trough, Bitcoin pulled back at absolute maximum 17%, and much of the rest of the cryptocurrency markets came with it. There aren't many gainers today. There are actually very few of them. 11 to be precise. One of them is Tether, and one of them is up 0.00%. It's always fascinating to look at CoinMarketCap because you can see which markets started to tank first. We can see Chainlink had started to pull off initially. Polkadot, which rallied all the way up here into the top 5, started to pull back. Then Ethereum did, then Bitcoin did. And we're not going to get into this in today's video, but a lot of people are speculating that this may have to do with DeFi, and this may have to do with a little tiny altcoin bubble that just popped. That actually makes a lot of sense to me because we've seen a lot of valuation being pumped into the altcoins, so that isn't necessarily out of the realm of possibility, but like I said, we're not going to get into that in today's video. If you're interested, you can do your own research on that. Definitely an interesting topic. Nevertheless, before we leave CoinMarketCap, I do want to mention the Bitcoin dominance, and touching on what I just said a minute ago, there is quite a lot of volume going into the altcoins, and this is very important because when volume goes into the altcoins, when market cap goes into the altcoins, it means that people are able to be more speculative in the cryptocurrency markets. And when do people get more speculative? When they trust in a bullish uptrend. And that is what we are in right now on Bitcoin. So before we get into all of the analysis that we're doing in today's video, I need you to understand we might be looking at 2 to 3 weeks of time frame here when we're doing our analysis, but the next 6 to 12 months still looks very bullish, guys. Keep that in mind. With that said, during this pullback, we have seen a significant amount of volume coming back into Bitcoin, and we've actually seen the same thing over on the SPY. As you can see, today we have seen a pullback in the stock market, and this candlestick alone, remember, this is the SPY, not Bitcoin, pulled back 4% in a day, and we have put a massive red volume candlestick, the likes of which we have not seen in over 2.5 months on the major stock index. Now, this is to be expected. We did talk about a few days ago about how the stock market breaking all-time highs in the middle of the biggest economic crisis in the history of modern civilization makes absolutely no sense. If I were a betting man, I would bet that the stock market pulls back quite a bit more, probably at least 10% more, and I think that correlation has something to do with what's going on in Bitcoin. Keep in mind, though, even though we can look at correlation and we can overlay one chart on the other, we need to make sure that we understand that Bitcoin started this pullback 3 days ago. The stock market pulled back 1 day ago. So Bitcoin was probably going to do this anyway. It is in correlation with the SPY, but do we have a causal relationship? We don't know, because if you look at the SPY, it pulled back today. Bitcoin started its pullback 3 days ago. So they happened around the same time, but which one happened first? Bitcoin. Did Bitcoin cause the stock market to correct? Very, very unlikely. The stock market could cause Bitcoin to correct, but the time frames don't match up. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of people like to overlay charts on top of each other and say, look at this correlation. They are moving together, and that is true. Bitcoin, gold, and the SPY are generally moving together, including their bounces. That is very important, TA, but we need to make sure that we don't just use that blindly. Anyway, this Bitcoin pullback does come hand in hand with a 3-day pullback on the GLD trust. As you guys can see, we were trading up here around 186, and we've now pulled back down to around 181. It's only about a 3% movement on GLD, but as you guys know, everything is amplified on Bitcoin. So 3% on gold is 17% on digital gold. By the way, this is some side technical analysis, but GLD being in this consolidation pattern right here, I could very easily see this breaking bullish in the next 2 weeks. If you're a person that trades gold, keep an eye out for that, because I could see gold marching a lot higher during these turbulent economic times. So with all this said, what does this actually mean for Bitcoin? Is this pullback the end of the world? Is this pullback the end of the bull market? Does this pullback mean that I need to sell my wife and then sell my everything and then go into hiding? Does it mean that? That was a terrible joke. Like, I'm sorry. That wasn't funny. But you get my point. Do we need to sell everything? Do we need to run, head for the hills? I think you sense the sarcasm in my voice, guys. Bitcoin pulling back 17% is like, oh, there's a full moon. Wow, that's so rare. Guys, Bitcoin pulling back is going to happen from time to time. Don't get freaked out by this. A lot of you guys are new here. Welcome if you are. I've been in the space for over 3 years now. A lot of you guys have been too. Bitcoin has pulled back a lot more than 17% before. I've watched Bitcoin pull back 50% in a day. That wasn't even that long ago, and it seems like we've forgotten that, because guess what happened after Bitcoin did that? Just to give you some perspective of how not bad this is right now, Bitcoin pulled back 62% in a month earlier this year, and then rallied back beyond yearly highs at a total of 223%. So is this a bad thing for Bitcoin? For the short term, if you were in a long position, yeah, you probably got liquidated. But in the long-term trend, is this a very bad thing for Bitcoin? Nah, we'll be all right. So with that said, let's look at the technicals real quick. One thing we need to keep in mind, guys, is that Bitcoin does have a high probability of pulling back even lower than where it has so far. Remember that CME futures gap everyone was talking about? I remember myself saying it's unlikely we'll fill it. Hands up, I'm red-handed because now we might. Bitcoin is very close to it. The CME futures gap, the open is 1% lower than where we have our absolute lowest wick right now. We pulled all the way back down to 10,000. This opens at 9,900, and then it pulls all the way down to 9.6. Could Bitcoin pull back down to 9.5 and fill that? Very, very possible. Absolutely, it's possible, guys. So don't get too bullish just yet. We don't know when this pullback on Bitcoin is going to end. We don't know if this little tiny reversal is the bottom. Remember, you need a couple of days, if you're looking at the daily chart, even more like a week to confirm an actual bottom. We've been bottomed for 12 hours. It's not locked in yet. But also, guys, keep in mind, we do have a ridiculous amount of VPVR support. I'm talking a stupid amount of VPVR support under us. As we can see, looking at the last 3 years, we just have a gigantic block of support between $6,000 and $10,000. So if Bitcoin even starts to dip into this pretty quickly, it's going to get bought up, and people are going to start moving cash into Bitcoin, and it's going to get pushed to the upside. At the end of the day, what Bitcoin is going through right now and what Bitcoin does in response to this kind of goes back to the market sentiment and the mass psychology, which are things that we talk about in CT2A. They're extremely important. What is the mass psychology of the market right now? What is the market sentiment right now? What do people think when they hear the word Bitcoin if they are an investor who has, worked in Bitcoin before? I think a lot of them think a bull market's coming. We've just had a stock-to-flow increase because of a halving event. We're having a ton of bullish news. Bitcoin is digital gold. There's recognition being done on a mass scale because of the economic turbulence that we're going through right now, the future for Bitcoin objectively looks bright compared to what it did before. There is a measurable objective difference in the amount of good news coming into Bitcoin and the amount of bullish fundamentals coming into the space. So why wouldn't Bitcoin move to the upside? At the end of the day, it's just about making money. And if people think they can make money in Bitcoin, they will come. It needs to be marketed, but we're pretty good at marketing Bitcoin, so they will come if Bitcoin looks like it's going to go into an uptrend and if it has the fundamentals to back that up, and it does. So we don't need to lose confidence in the long-term trend. We need to be even more confident in the long-term trend because guess what Bitcoin has done with this pullback? It has reset the daily chart RSI. It has reset the daily chart MACD. It has reset the daily chart Stochh RSI. And it has pushed Bitcoin back down into territories where a lot of people would be interested in scooping up the cryptocurrency after the rally that we have just seen. So what does Bitcoin do from here? It bottoms out in the next couple of weeks, more than likely, starts a new rally. A month or two from now, we'll all be excited because there will be another rally coming, and that is something to look forward to. Guys, I do hope you did enjoy today's video. As always, if you did, consider hitting that like button. It really does help out the channel when you do that. I really mean that. It does help out the channel a lot. Let's see if we can get to 1,700 likes today. And also, guys, if you haven't already, or if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 75K subs by the end of the year, and I have something really special coming for when we hit 100K. Wink, wink. I totally didn't tell you that because you're not supposed to know about that yet, but there is something really cool coming when we hit 100K. You guys are going to love it, but that is going to have to wait until we hit 100K. So if you want to be part of helping us get there, hit that subscribe button, guys, so that we can go ahead and do it. Guys, I really do hope you enjoyed today's video, but before I go, I do, of course, just want to first thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.